Well, just like that. My phone doesn't say 6 o'clock. Anyways, good evening. How you guys doing? Hello, Joe. Good to see you, Joe Bullier. How you been, man? You're kind of a regular. I appreciate that. I appreciate you coming on in and seeing what's going on. It's, what is it, Saturday, May 6th? May 6th. Already? My goodness. What have we got tonight? Again, I'm hoping you guys will provide some entertainment for me. But there's nobody really watching yet, so what's up, man? How you guys? Buds, there you are. Are you a little late today, sir? It's 6 o'clock. Come on. Good to see you, Buds. How you been? Oh, I'm a little tired, a little crazy, a little hectic, a little not real prepared, but here we are. We're going to do it. We're going to show up for work, and see what happens. How you doing? Any questions? I do have a little business, a little bookkeeping to do. Last week there was 2 winners on my show. Landshark Genetics, which I taken care of, and there was another winner too. Hey, love to grow premium Canadas. Don't we all? Good evening. GMF. Good to see you. How you doing, man? Good to see you, GMF. Are you under a different name this week? I gotta keep track of all these. What was I saying? I was saying something. Oh yeah, last week I had 2 winners for my little raffle giveaway, and Landshark Genetics was one, and he got in touch with me, or they, or whatever it is, got in touch with me, and they're taken care of. But the other person who won, I forgot who it was, and they never really got in touch with me. So I feel a little bad. I like to get that stuff out when I can. But got a few people popping in. How you doing? What's going on? Thank you for sharing. I'm a little sloppy. Didn't really prepare. I didn't brush my tooth or nothing. Ooh, you must be on the West Coast. Don't complain. Yes, it's kind of cool to cut the lawn. Vester A, how you doing, Weed Nerd? How are you doing, Weed Nerd? Well, I don't know what to say. I guess I should do a little candy, a little treat. We'll start the process. Oh, okay. Do you know what time it is, Ryan? Hope you're not sniping off my viewers, but to be real honest with you, if they went over there, that would be fine. Oh, Eagle Art Gardens. I'm kind of curious who this character is, because I met a couple of the big ones at some shows, and they had their books and stuff. Interesting. Let's see up here. Tim McBride, is that who it is? Good to see you. Small tubes, elbow cough. No, you just asked me a few minutes ago, about an hour ago. It's not on its way. It won't be leaving until Monday. Is Vets in the house? There you are, Vets. Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. 12 people. I'm kind of curious. Joe Pietri, I don't know who that is. I've been doing a few little side projects. See if I don't make a disaster out of this. I wonder if it will show. I wonder if this will even show up. Anyways, a little side project. Oh, we got a slow leaker. You got is some water issues, like the pH of your local water, is that causing it? I don't know. I'm just talking. How you fooling? How you fooling, buds, my brother? How you fooling? Good to see you, Run Boy. Saw you last night. Yes, I saw you last night. We won't say where. We won't say where. Okay, was that your? I'm going to give up a little information on you, Run Boy. Was that your parents I saw you with last night? Was that your parents, sir? Tim McBride. Well, I'll have to. So that would be 8:30 West Coast time. You were saying. Let's see. Let me put that up there for everybody. I think it's 11:30 Eastern time. So that would be 8:30 Pacific time. Yep. Yield, yeah. I tested for subcool back in the day too, Ryan, by the way. Let's see what do we got here. On a brighter note, I've got a 3x3 living soil garden started. Super excited about it. We'll be top dressing with Ocean Bounty in a couple months to keep everything happy. Love to hear that. Actually, I got hey Flora Nugs. I actually got an interesting call from Trinidad this weekend. And the guy was telling me, he goes, I want to tell you something about your, he goes, I found out, he goes, because they're all hooked up with CO2. And he goes, we turned our CO2 off and the room got above 800. I said, no. He goes, how did that happen? I said, well, the soil's alive, my friend. The soil's alive. When you have a living soil, it produces its own, it's such a cool symbiotic thing that I don't think hydroponic growers think about so much. But if you have some good compost tea that's really living and the soil's really living, what living means is they're breathing out CO2. So just think about that. You got this little cloud of CO2 gas coming up from the soil underneath the plant. Where does the plant absorb the CO2? Underneath the leaves. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? And good living soil creates its own CO2. It's hard to see it outdoors to measure it, but in indoors, you actually can measure it. True story. Oh. Oh, good. I like to hear that. Eagle's a disciple of the business. But anyways, and who can remember who won last week? Did I win Robert Federiconi? Who won last week? I guess I could go online and look, but I didn't write one of them down, and I don't like doing that. I think I've been on Eagle's show. I've been on there once or twice, to believe it or not. Okay. Yeah, I've been on there. Yeah. Yeah, me and towards the end of Subcool's life, we were doing his Subcool mix together. So anyways, which reminds me, Fire Farmer. Are you by any chance in Del Norte County? I'm this one here. Fire Farmer. I think you're from Del Norte County, I'm guessing. I'm a little disappointed. I am. I have the order in for our new mix. I thought it was shipping Friday. It didn't. It did not ship Friday. So I don't have, I don't like saying it, but hopefully by next week, we're going to put a list together. We're going to make some criteria. And I'm hoping you guys, because we need to get it out pretty darn quick. We'll test some of our new product out. We need some help. I wish I could have made the announcement today and start collecting names and addresses, et cetera. But yeah, and we'll talk. Yeah, and maybe we can customize what you might particularly need. If I'm sending everybody 10 pounds, maybe you need 20. I don't know. Your RNet 4 sensor. Well, good. Yeah, I measured that. Actually, that was kind of surprising to me. I was kind of stoked about finding that out because we developed a little CO2 chamber to do some experiments in, and yeah, we didn't even have to turn CO2 on to start accumulating in there. So it was kind of a cool little realization, but it is true. What does that mean? I'm not sure. What's here? Good to see you, John McDonald. Floor, all DM. I'm not sure. I'm a little bit out of the loop on this one, but oh well. I don't need to be in the loop of everything. Okay. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it. I need to start doing some cross marketing somehow. My marketing game, Mr. Dietz will tell you in the chat if he's still in here. He's always one he let me know, man, dude, you don't know how to market. I know I don't know how to market. Yeah, I know this. Have I dropped a link? What sucks? My marketing? Well, it did okay to about 2 years ago. I was fine with my marketing. Turns out it's one of those lucky things. You fall off a log marketing. And now I need to up the game. For sure. Let's I've dropped a bunch of people. What you want to talk about? Anything you want to talk about? Sungrown is Sungrows in here? Hey, Sungrown. Good to see you, old fella. You young whippersnapper, how's it going? How's your health? You feel how's your vacuum cleaner collection going? I don't know. Oh, that's too much because I know that was kind of fun to do, wasn't it? You can't have like a closet. You'd be surprised what you can do with a little 3x3 area. And sometimes it's kind of fun to break the law. Well, don't take my advice. Do not take my advice. It never works out. So I dropped a link because I don't really come prepared for this. There we go. I hope that's you, sir. Can you show me your hand or something? I'm taking a risk when I don't see faces. Oh, well, if you do something naughty, I'll just take the stream down. It's not that big of a deal. Well, Ryan, I hope it's Ryan Korkowski. I know I probably said that wrong. Oh, he left. I was going to let you come on, Ryan. I won't let you come on. I'm sorry. But I've had some people come on and they don't show their face. I won't show it up here, but I need to see it in the green room down there, down below the main screen. And because they usually come up and show their privates or a film of somebody's privates or doing something a little naughty, and then I have to take down the stream because I don't want to lose my channel because I'm showing pornography. So I'm going to try it, Ryan. We're going to try it with you. Don't do it. Buzz knows I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to be on the.
I won't pull any of that shit that happened on Eagles 420 on his 420 episode.
No, it's happened. So how you doing, Ryan? Have you been on this show before?
I think I popped on here maybe once or twice, just a little bit.
Okay, well, welcome.
Talking about organic shit, probably.
Pretty much. So what's the so you hooked up Eagle Gardens with his interview tonight. I think you said that, correct?
Yeah. I mean, I just happened to see he's been interviewed on quite a few different shows on podcasts. And but they only ever get to be like maybe 2 hours long. I guess that first smoke of the day, they did 3 hours with him. But I figure Eagles shows sometimes they can go upwards of 6 hours. So, and I know this Tim definitely has a lot of stories to tell. I mean, I just reached out to him I I found out his email address. I bought a copy of his book to have him sign for me, and fucking just kind of threw it out there. And I ended up talking to him on the phone for a couple of hours and shit. And out of all the interviews I heard, I never even heard any of the stories that he told me in those couple hours on any of the interviews. So I'm sure that Eagle will get a lot of fucking cool shit out of the guy.
Well, good. I'll have to definitely have that in the background this evening. I think I might have met this guy. I'm not sure, but there was that's one of the shows a few years back. He was at a booth, and it was a huge smuggler who I wrote a book, and I don't know if he spent time in jail or whatever, but might be the same guy. I don't know, but yeah,
Yeah, he did do time in jail. He got his yeah.
No, some of them we lose, especially nowadays. We lose sight that not too long ago you go to prison, you can lose your freedom, which is like that's the worst. Losing money's bad, but I'd much rather lose money than your freedom, right? And they did. I never did. I've been around that long where I could have, but I was fortunate enough. But some guys paid a big price.
I mean, it's no comparison, but when I was a teenager, I got busted with the felony amount of marijuana with intent to distribute, and I went and I sat 6 months in juvenile, and I also went to a boot camp facility for 3 months where we had to go chop wood and go hiking and shit.
Oh, that's actually what did you think of that? Did you think that was worthwhile?
I actually enjoyed it. I mean, a lot of the kids that were in there, like for Grand Theft Auto and shit, that didn't care to be there one bit, but I enjoyed the shit out of it.
No, you know what? And I'm going off topic. I'm sorry, Ryan. You don't know me that well, but I go off topic sometimes because I do think that experience for like whether you're a teenager or a young man or a young woman, it's like going into the military. So many people, it was such a seminal moment in their life. They say I've turned into a man, or I learned to get squared away, or I learned some discipline, and I think that's needed, not necessarily with the military, but I think those I think that needs to be incorporated into our society. I don't know, it's not working now. I'll shut up. But you got some mushrooms? What kind? Now what's going on here? Talk us through. I think those ones with the skinny things. I think I might know what those are, but I don't know.
These are just I'd say run of the mill, but they're anything but. But Psilocybe cubensis from Tanasi Gardens, or sacred tree mushrooms, or fruity spores. I don't know. He calls himself so many different things. It's hard to keep track. And then there's some, like this little chomper here is a Texas yellowcap. I've got some different ones too that I haven't harvested yet.
Okay, so are you do you search for home? Do you grow them in home, or do you search for
them? These ones I grew from home. Nice. You can go on Daga Gardens and get a kit from Tanasi Gardens. It calls it like the personal fable kit or something, where he'll send you a tote with everything you need with it, and with your substrate, and he also sends you a complimentary syringe of spores.
So is that pretty easy to do?
It's not too terribly hard. Like me, like as far as like the size wise of a lot of these go, I mean the guys that blow it out of the park, I mean they blow me out of the water, but it's because I could have gotten a lot of my temperatures and everything a little bit better conditions than what I had, but otherwise, I mean, like you get scared away a lot of times when they say you got to be so sterile and everything that with mushrooms that it's surprisingly easy.
No, I think is it like a sealed environment within? You can keep a sealed environment with some of the kits they send you. I think that is kind of critical.
Yeah. So like the kit comes with like a grain source to be inoculated, where like it can either be, or you can even get pre-inoculated kits where it'll be like a bag of rye or something, or
separate a berry or something.
Yep. Well, they'll have like a little port on there to be able to inject it with its spores with a needle, so you can kind of do it all sterile like.
Yeah, because if you do try mushrooms, unless you have pretty much a flow bench, you are going to be in trouble unless you have a system like that where you get it pre-sterilized and
Yep. With this, you really just need some rubbing alcohol and a pair of gloves and clean surface. I mean, it doesn't even need to be. I mean, like Tanasi, he does it with a room full of dogs with dog hair floating around everywhere, and he doesn't get contamination. So it's I mean, when you're doing agar work and stuff like that, you got to be a little more. You might a laminar flow hood or a
yes,
like oven tech or whatever, but
it's a numbers because what is it? It's what is it? What's one that's everywhere and it's floating in the air and it wants to
trichoderma.
Trichoderma. Trichoderma is the enemy of that stuff. I know that. Here we got vets in line. Let's see here with vets. Back there in Oklahoma.
What's happening, guys?
How you doing, man?
Wow, I'm gonna try and get this to work here.
Let's see here. Actually, someone talked about going to shows.
Who's going to shows?
Let's see here. A show in Michigan or in Baltimore. I might go to a show in Baltimore.
Massachusetts?
Baltimore or Maryland.
Maryland?
I don't know. I might be going.
See, Miranda Family Farms lives out there. So how's everybody doing tonight, guys?
I'm doing pretty good. Hey, BA, are you going to be in the area in the near future? I think we need to talk. Yeah, some places they don't. Yeah, I don't know what all the rules are. So what do you got there? Just shake, trim?
Bunch of trim from hemp.
Well, is that CBD stuff or is that real hemp?
It's CBD. Well, it's yeah.
Oh, okay, I know where he lives too. Yeah, have him do that. I'm on Facebook with him. Have him do it anytime.
I usually make like a dry sift out of all the trim.
For is it CBD? I'm talking to.
Yeah.
Much. Okay.
And I mean, there's certain stuff that's got CBG in it too, and some feral hemp that I kind of work with that I don't know exactly what it has in it, but definitely hits spots that feel good.
What part of the country are you in, if you don't mind me asking?
Minnesota.
Oh, not many from Minnesota. Not many people in Minnesota, I don't think.
We got the select hardy few.
I've been to Minnesota.
Gonna be the next state to be legal here, coming up pretty quick in the next month or so.
You think it will?
Oh, it's already a cert pretty much. It's fucking. It just got to go through a committee for the House and the Senate to hash out their differences in the bill or whatever.
Are you going to get involved in the industry if you can?
Perhaps I have been a licensed hemp grower for 4 years now. So.
Okay. So how is that business working for you?
It was going pretty good, but I got fucked over by the man this last season. So.
Explain.
There's that.
What happened? The man.
Well, like I started out working for a buddy of mine opened up a dispensary, just a CBD dispensary, and he got a grower's license, and I grew in 2019. I grew 4,000 plants for him, and then the following year we stepped it up to 7,000, and then I got headhunted by a banker and his CBD company out of a bigger town, and then. 2021, I did pop 30,000 seeds and brought them all outside to fruition and everything. I got averaged over 2 pounds a plant, I'm guessing, but some of them were way more than that. But then I got the company that I was working for. They made their I think they purport like 5 to 10 million in sales on their oils. They sell them like overseas on like I forget the name of the site, eWorld Trade, like a P2P site or something like that. But in any case, towards the end of the year, once the landowner slash investor realized that I kind of blew them out of the water as far as yield and everything went. He ended up kicking them to the can after like they had started in 2019 with 200 acres of it was drip irrigated hemp. I mean, if done right, that was a lot of money in 2019. But they, in any case, I was to replace the company that I was worked for, and I created a business name and lined up genetics and did all sorts of fun stuff like that for several months before I was ousted from the company. And they created an LLC for my company behind my back, and then registered with the state under that license name or under that company name for the state license. It's kind of weird, but it's a whole long drawn out thing now. Like fucking, I'm in the process of suing his fucking rich ass, but
shady things happen in this business, my friend.
oh yeah,
shady things happen. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope it didn't burn you out too much where you don't keep going.
It all happens. I mean, everything kind of lined up for a reason. This basically was my end to get onto the Eagles show, damn, kind of in a way. This is how I look at it now. I had a story to tell and I shared it on his show, but yeah, for me, it's not the money isn't the issue. It's just, yeah, I love growing the fucking plants.
Oh, good. Don't lose sight of that. Don't lose sight of that. A lot of the old school growers in my neck of the woods are, I think they're just back to their 6 plants, or whatever. They're not doing the big things anymore. It's different. It's different nowadays.
Yeah, here Minnesota, it seems we're gonna have a 8 plant rule with only 4 or no more than 4 in flower at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking I might just do some fancy graft work for the fucking Instagram and graft like 20 strains to one fucking plant.
That's awesome. You should. One of the guys who comes on the show used to come, Josh. He might be listening. I don't know. He did that with his mom plant. So, no, I think that's a great idea. Yeah, you can play. Another thing is you definitely do seed stock. You want the root coming from a seed, and then graft whatever you want onto it. But yeah, that'd be interesting.
I've got a lot of seeds I've been waiting to pop here. So
let me ask you. You kind of half-hand mentioned that you work for that CBD or the hemp place, and you got really good results. What was your secret?
A lot of organics. I mean, my big secret was my hot compost. Like I fell in love with Elaine back in 2018 or 17 or something like that, and flipped a lot of fucking 6x6 piles by hand. And then when I went down to that large site, I had a skid loader and a dairy or a beef cattle farm to my or at my fucking discretion or whatever. And then I also had some Amish neighbors there that I got a lot of free sawdust and free inputs from. And I made like a 150 yard pile or something like that, a hot compost.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, even during the winter, I actually even composted two cattle that were fucking dead and frozen. It's kind of fun.
So, that went by me pretty quick. Dead and frozen cattle.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Normally, because I mean, the landowner of this place, they're like not dairy, beef cattle ranchers basically, where they run thousands of head at different farms, and you have cows that die in the winter, and they just end up kind of making a dead cow pile until spring when you can dig a hole in the woods and bury them. But I said, fuck that. We're going to fucking compost them shits. And I did.
Hey, Ryan, you know what plants and animals eat?
Carbon and light.
Plants and animals.
Yeah.
That's what you eat. Yes, it's a carbon cycle. If you dealt with Elaine Ingram and you've climbed down some rabbit holes about this stuff, that's good.
or 400 or 600 watt HPS from back in the day.
You're a well organized young man.
Oh no, this is fucking. This is my storage camper. This is a bag here full of fucking bunch of trim and buds too.
Bunch of trim and buds.
This is from 2020. It still sticks to my thumb.
Okay, you need to process that. Get that.
Yeah, I know. I'm lacking, but and that's just being in a fucking contractor's bag, and it still got sticks to my hand.
Well, that's good. That's the hemp stuff.
Yep.
Wow.
I mean, it's all the same plant. I kind of get one of my pet peeves is when people differentiate between hemp and marijuana so much when hemp was the forefather of marijuana.
Explain yourself. Give me that history. I don't know the whole.
So
Okay.
cannabis,
So hemp. Okay, let me just ask you a quick. I'm sorry, I asked you a question. I interrupted you. My bad. So from when I think of cannabis, I think now there's three. I'm gonna say genotypes. I'm not sure if that's the correct word, but there's indica, sativa,
ruderalis.
ruderalis. Now, did all three of them originate from the same hemp? Let me know.
It's all cannabis, and they're kind of trying to get away from those classifications too. The whole fat leaf or skinny leaf, whatever you want to call them, but as far as the plant goes, so it's cannabis, right? And
yeah, that's
it was
does.
what we consider hemp back, the original plant, where it had full CBD synthase genes intact. Whereas over the years in evolution, there was once upon a time there was what we would call what do you call it, a mutant or whatever. There was something changed in one of the plants where there was what you call a gene deletion event, where there was a plant that was missing this CBD synthase gene that was like and which I don't know, I'm kind of tripping over here, so it's hard for me to focus on my words, but so the gene deletion event was where that's what became marijuana, which was humans specifically cultivated that from whatever point that was when that gene deletion event first occurred, and then from then on that was known as drug type marijuana, when in fact, if left to its resources out in the wild, over years it will revert back to hemp, because the CBD is or the hemp part of it, the plant is more what do you call it, dominant or whatever trait.
Interesting. I've never heard that side of the story. So how long have they been like, I kind of evolution, man, and cannabis kind of evolved together a little bit, if I remember right. So yeah, that must have branched off a lot, so you're saying like kind of when man got involved, that's when we started.
That's when marijuana was created. Yeah, man created marijuana technically, or we didn't create it, but he selected that out of the original hemp plant that we call it today.
So then it must have. So all of the ones I talked about are somewhat psychoactive, right? The ruderalis,
yep.
I don't know. And
ruderalis is, that's kind of like the auto flowering part, or other people, or the hemp part too. A lot of people will call it. But there's sativa strains that have high CBD and low THC. It's just we haven't really zeroed in on those traits so much because we were so concentrated on the high THC race as of late, but there's a lot of like shit. There's one cannabis cups where, because it had the high CBD shit, where the breeder bred that knowing it felt good for him, but not knowing what CBD even was at the time. But I don't know. It's there's a really good video on it there's a guy named Dr. Weiblen from the University of Minnesota. Because the University of Minnesota they've had a DEA license to study marijuana for the past like 20 years or something like that.
Okay.
And they've been going around and gathering up all the feral stands of hemp that are around, which are at this point they're endemics, is what I think they'd be classified as. I mean, some people would go as far as saying landrace, but they're not. I mean, that evolution takes time, I guess. But it's fucking basically what we used to be, I think, the second largest producer. I think Kentucky was, for the longest time, was the biggest producer, and Wisconsin was really big too back in the turn of the century, like the 19 teens and 20s, up until 1937 prohibition. And then they even brought it back again during the Hemp for Victory drive during World War II. But what happened is so there's a lot of what's ditchweed around here, where it's just shit growing wild in the ditch that, growing up, it was always just, that was a curse word, fucking every once in a while, someone found one that, a non-feminine or a non-pollinated plant with actual flowers on it, they would fucking, try to sneak it by and get, rip a bunch of people off with it. But now that I've seen it through a whole different perspective, is that stuff is custom fit for the environment. I mean, what's surviving today still is remnants of, at the very least, the 1940s hemp drive. But I mean, it could be stuff from the pre-1937, which is what I like to find too. But it's a lot of like Chinese land races and stuff that are Asian influenced ones, but where it initially came from. But like, people say, well, hemp grows like fucking a straight, a little straight stalk, and there's just a little bud on the top. It's like, well, marijuana grows like that too if you plant it right next to each other. It's the same plant. It's just I don't know. But yeah, like say the University of Minnesota and Dr. Weiblin and his studies or whatever, they're the ones that first discovered the difference. This gene deletion event that I speak of, fucking, and he shows little charts and gives you a little lesson on like Mendel genetics and trait shit to like a precursor and things. But yeah, it's interesting, to say the least. But yeah, I work with some feral stands here that the state hasn't found and taken yet. Because apparently they're taking them, they put them under lock and key, and then they go and bring them to the lab down at the university and sequence the genome and cross it with high THC strains. So I wouldn't be surprised if when the federal legalization happens that they're going to be lined. I don't know. I mean, I imagine they're probably already got some back end deal with Bayer or whoever the fuck.
That would not surprise me.
And it's, they probably already have it, down to like, hybrid corn where it's all mono. What's the word I'm looking for? Where it's
monoculture. We gotta find.
Well, yeah, not saying monoculture, but like where it's bred so much to where you don't have phenotypes. You just have, it's all the same plant. Fucking like your cornfields look like.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that they've already got a lot of these crosses and stuff that they're working on. Like I've had some cool ones. Like I've got one that produced only monofoliate leaflets or unifoliate leaflets, or one-fingered leaves, the whole plant.
It grew start that way from seed?
Yep. Yeah, I actually had 3 plants that did it out of like, I think 50 seeds maybe that I popped. But that was before I kind of even really knew what I was doing, which I'll never know what I'm doing to the full extent, but.
Well, we tend to get a little better sometimes. Sometimes we close backwards. So I got a question for you from the gallery. What's your top dress go-to?
Malted barley. I don't know.
Malted barley?
Yeah, or just I do like a lot of compost extracts.
Really?
Yeah.
So you go through the procedure of malting grains?
Well, no, that's like a version of seed sprout tea that you don't have to do the old seed sprouting per se, because they do it for you in the malting process. Because
so you buy malting.
Yeah, I've got a buddy that owns a brewery, and at the end of each run, he has so many, like usually like 50, 60 pounds worth of barley, it's almost always from Bavaria or Germany or something. And but at the end of each run, he just has a bag of or an opened bag of barley that he's not going to ever use again. So I get them for free from him.
Now, have you heard of Clackamas Coot?
Oh yeah, Jim Bennett.
Yes. So yeah, you should be having some worm bins with that stuff in them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't have any going at the moment, but I'm well aware.
You must be. I think you've delved into some of these. Yes.
Yeah,
And
Coot might know me a little bit by name. I mean, I've been on a lot of panel shows with him over the years, or whatever.
no, he's actually a very gracious guest.
When I'm on any panel shows,
Yeah.
or flowers, or ninja throwing stars, depending on who you ask. Like I use all glow in the dark paints. I take it's kind of what I do for fun.
You got tie-dye shirts?
No, but I totally. Here's a tie-dye wheel.
You listen to Grateful Dead. Fish. Listen to Fish. That is cool. I bet that's trippy.
It's pulsing for me right now, man. It's breeze.
It's pulsing.
Yeah, pulsating whenever.
Wow. That's a trip. Oh. Well, thank you for coming on tonight. You gave me a little different content. Here's some. Let's see what Bedcrow. He's been trying to get on all evening. What's going on, Bets? How are you doing? How's the Fuzzy Butt Farm?
Yeah, I recognize that name from Eagles chat just the other day.
Yeah, probably. He muted yourself, you big dummy. There you go. Buds and Suds, I'm all out of that merch right now. Sorry. We got to have a little turnaround before the merch gets ordered any merch in the future. Unless I get some helpers. You want to be one of our testers, I got to get some shirts for us. Right? You want to help me, right? You want to help me test a new product? Mr. Nice. Angels, breasts, Neville, NL5. Look at that seed bin he's got there. Wasn't Mr. Nice? Weren't they out of? Were they a Dutch company? I don't remember. Flow. I remember the Flow. It's old school. It looks like Buds and Hazard's picture. Can't really read. TK, NL Hayes.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know I was muted there. But yeah, so Neville's Hazer stuff from 2013. It's Brandon Rust. TK, I'm guessing Triangle Kush by NL5 Hayes.
I've heard that name before, Brandon Rust. Did he actually is he a breeder?
Yes, he also, I believe he does maybe he does the organic or the like beneficials too. I can't be certain. Either way, he's a weed nerd. He's a certified weed nerd. The guy knows the science. Okay, I believe he's based out of Oklahoma now.
I think I've heard his name mentioned on this show before, but I don't think he's ever been on the show. Let's go. Unmute that mic, man. Come on.
Here's some Hillbilly Herb crosses, some Grillo GG4 by Durban Poison, Autos.
Oh, you got a little stash.
Some Tino's Triple Crack, Purple Doge by Green Crack. Got a whole bunch of Humidor's gear. And I've probably got 6 or 7 of his strains going here. We got some Time Wreck by Blueberry from Tao, from the American one. Some Amy Aces, which everyone's got to have in their garden if they don't have already.
From the American one, is that the one who was on my show?
Perhaps if you only heard his voice.
No, I only see him in the chat, I think.
Oh yeah. He's good shit.
I got some famous people.
Amy Aces has been making its rounds. She's a little slut.
What?
In a good way. Here's some Jelly Bean by Blueberry Muffin. Talking sub cool. Here's some
Blueberry Muffin. That isn't that a Humboldt Seed Company strain?
I'm not positive 100%. I've got several strains with the Blueberry Muffin though, crossing them.
The one I know was for sure. I got a bunch of that.
Here's some Bingus berry. Some Bingus.
You want one of my stickers? Please don't say no.
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll give you one of my stickers. So Brandon Russ, I'm seeing his name popped up. He's is that someone who might come on my show? I don't know. Vets might know him.
You guys hear me? Can you guys hear me, Pat?
I can now. I got stickers.
Okay, yeah, I know Russ Brandon, and he'll come on the show. He said just let him know he'll come on anytime.
Okay, I'd love to have one then. I'm flashing my slaps. So what's going on? Yeah. How's the farm?
Man, it's going really good. I know you can't tell it now, and it's a little getting dark, but I went and bought a brand new 2018 Dodge diesel extended cab, extended bed, because I'm getting ready to start hauling anywhere from 100 to 200 or 300 goats a month to the slaughterhouse and buying them at the auctions and taking them to the slaughterhouse. So I've got a lot of work coming up. I'm getting ready to build another flower room at the grow that we've been working at for the last few months. Got a lot of birds out here that are getting big enough. I just sold 25 of them earlier today. What else is going on? I'm getting ready to do some bulldozing work because the guy that we're working for at this grow, he's putting up a fence around his 10 acres. And next week, I'm going to go, after I get finished building this grow room next week, going up there to do some dozer work. But yeah, it's been pretty busy here lately. I sold a couple goats, made some really good money. Went to an auction this morning. They were going for like 30 to 50 cents a pound, and if you take them to the processor, they go for $4.50 to $5.50 a pound. So I went and talked to him today and said, look, we're behind the 8 ball now. All the goats are cheap. I got to get this fencing done. So I think real soon here I'm gonna have this whole front 2 acres fenced in and having a bunch of goats gather up here for the month. And it's getting warm out too, so all the outdoor plants that I popped seeds for in January, February, they've already showed their sex, and some of getting some size. So in about 4 or 6 weeks here, we'll have some plants going outdoors.
I envy you, you bastard. You're planning.
You're busy. What I'm hearing is a lot of work, but it's good work. That's good work though, right?
Yeah.
It's good work.
I suppose you got clones of all those ready to go too, huh?
Absolutely. Actually, I got the clones in flower. I got my clones in the flower tent now, so I see how they grow and develop and if they're going to be worth sticking outside.
All right.
My goodness. Yeah, maybe Brandon. It seems there's a lot of votes for having Brandon come on the show. I really appreciate that, Vets. And when it's convenient, let's make a connection. Sounds like
when do you want him to come? When do you want him to come on the show? I'll set it up.
Well, you know what? Actually, I usually go Saturday, and any Saturday would be good. But if that's not good for him, I'm willing to do it at any time at his convenience in the evening. Works best for me.
So you want to do like 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now?
Next week, anytime, whatever convenient for him. And like I said, I would be willing to do a show anytime, really. and then it's always
Okay.
saved. It doesn't matter, right? You just
Yeah.
can't see it live. The drama. You don't get to see all
I'll get
the
it. I'll
drama.
get a hold of him. I'll get a hold of him after the show and see if we can't set something up for next weekend.
That is
That not me.
That's not me. That's not me.
I
Some people have
like that. That's somebody's handle. That's
some
not
people have. They're pretty creative. That's for sure.
Hey, there's Bam Bam. That's my neighbor. What's up, brother?
Hey,
He's the one that just picked up 25 birds today.
that's what he was saying. So the American one, you're doing some genetics, or you go, what you got? What's
There's Tao.
hey Ryan, how
Yeah,
are you?
We call him Tao,
Who's that?
I was just
the American
just-
one.
Oh, okay.
vlogging with Amy's Aces over here.
Go, Tao.
So you know what, dude? I got that shirt, the hat that you have. I have this shirt that had that chemical on it. I think, yeah, I have that one. Oh, I should get that. I think it's even signed by the man.
Yeah, he's got these hats for sale, a couple styles still. I can't remember the website name. It's raceaddicts.com or something like that.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay.
Gets me all sorts of pussy.
Oh, okay. Okay. Good for you, sir. You're a young man, I guess.
In my mind, it does. All sorts of hypothetical bitches.
Oh. So, what is that? We got what, an hour and a half before that. I imagine, Brian, you're going to be watching that show tonight with the author Tim.
Oh yeah,
I think it's his name on. So I
Tim.
think I'm going to try to make sure that's in the background somewhere.
Yeah, he's got lots of cool stories. I mean, he's responsible for millions of pounds coming from the Caribbean.
So
he fell into the ring or whatever you call it.
Did he used to bring that to the Bay Area?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wonder,
he brought it all into Florida, is where his point of contact was.
Yeah, some of them. There was a big operation that used to go into San Francisco, I think, in the '60s too. But
What's his name? That oh,
I don't know.
they did a movie about him. Even the fucking, I can't think. George, maybe something. He used to run up the West Coast. He used to like package them and like they'd have frozen fish and shit. At the same or like he made it look like they were fishermen, and then like they'd always make sure to like accidentally spill a box of fish at the docks when they're unloading tons of marijuana in boxes.
So they know it's fish, or they think it's interesting. No, a lot of smuggling's.
I've been kind of deep diving a lot of the old timer shit. Like I've talked with like the Cornbread Mafia and shit. They were big back in the day. The influence, or like
the Cornbread Mafia. Now,
yeah.
when you say back in the day, what does that mean to you?
Well, in the 80s, pretty much is when they all went to prison.
Okay.
The Johnny Boone and like in the Bickett, like Joe Keith Bickett, and yeah, they still run hemp stock every year, or Hemp Fest in Kentucky. There, yeah, they were known for the largest marijuana bust in American history, I believe. Those days,
Pretty
$1
much,
billion dollars worth.
Yep.
1986, on a farm in Minnesota, that my brother's property. But
his battery's dead. Maybe that's why he's in his truck.
No, I just get a very bad signal in the house, and the wife was inside practicing her music, so I came outside to sit in the truck up on the hill. But it's finicky out here. I think I need to go to the top of the hill over here.
Yes, the '80s did rock, but the '70s rocked harder. And the 60s even was crazier.
Another big influential group was they called them the Gentleman Smuggler, Lee Rich. And like he had partners like Michael Vogel and they operated out of like the Detroit area and shit. But they smuggled by airplane. And they were like in connection with like there was an FBI agent that went undercover and infiltrated the biker gang that initially led to them and the capture of Manuel Noriega down in Colombia. There's a pretty cool podcast about them on. Like if you just go to I can't remember the name. If you go to my YouTube, there's up like on my playlists. I think it's called The Masked Men or something like that. Pushkin Industries is the name of the YouTube channel. But they actually had like interviews with the guys themselves before Vogel died last year here.
Man, don't get me started. What's your favorite band of the 70s? Wow. 70s was back when you didn't have to be good looking.
It's got to be like Led Zeppelin or Pink Floyd or.
Yeah, those were enduring, but there were so many one-hit bands too, and there was a lot of like, I don't know, there's a lot of good horn music in the backgrounds of 70s stuff. I don't know.
Jethro Tull can fucking rock a flute like a motherfucker.
Jethro Tull, yes, that was a 70s band.
Foreigner, the Eagles.
Yeah, you got Foreigner, Eagles.
Now here's one for you. Do you know for a minute, maybe only one show, maybe a little longer, Richie Blackmore was the guitar player for Jethro Tull. I bet you didn't know that, did you? I got a lot of trivia on that stuff. Anyways.
I just said it a second ago. Three Dog Night.
Oh yeah, we got Jimmy Jack that goes to our church. He used to be a guitarist in Three Dog Night.
Three Dog Night. Yeah, that was actually kind of one that doesn't get talked about a lot, but they were pretty big in the 70s. They were a pretty big band.
Yeah, he played in Three Dog Night, and then he's a producer now, and people that sing or that he produces for, Alabama plays all the guitar music for it.
Now, I'm sorry. This is not some. I think this is an adults only show. But I remember that the lead I think they had 2 or 3 lead singers on Three Dog Night. It was a weird kind of a bunch of people in that band. But anyways, the guy who had the mustache and kind of looked like a porn star. And anyways, he kind of was. I guess he kind of was. And I remember on a talk show he was talking about his he had sex so much his penis actually exploded. I don't know, but that stuck with me. But it was like I kind of felt sorry for him, and in a way I did.
Spontaneous combustion.
But anyways, yeah, Three Dog. Sorry, it's a Three Dog Night story. Yeah, that was a really good. Mama told me not to come. One is the loneliest number. Oh, they were a good band.
Yeah, it was a lot of great music that came out back then.
Mama told me not to come on account my dick might explode.
There you go. There you going right for that. There you go. No, yeah, lots of 70s bands. I think I've said it before. The first show I ever saw live at the Swing Auditorium in San Bernardino, California. I think must have been 73 or 74. My first concert was the Brady Kids from the Brady Bunch. So, true story. It's hard to beat that one as your first show, but I saw that, and I was excited to see them. I loved Marsha. Yes, this 13-year-old boy wanted to see Marsha, and I did. But I've seen a lot of good shows after that. One of my best. Okay, that's a good. What was one of your best concerts you've ever been to?
I saw Styx live a few years ago, and for an old man on a keyboard, that motherfucker can move.
Dennis DeYoung, right?
You know it
Yeah.
more than I do.
Yeah, actually, Tommy Shaw. I don't know if he lives full time. He lives up in Brookings, Oregon, or I don't know, part time or full time, but he goes into the sushi restaurant, which my buddy owns. No,
Yeah,
Sticks
I
was
saw
a
them
good band.
at a weekend event called Moondance Jam in Minnesota here. But the Goo Goo Dolls were there, and Sublime with Rome was there that weekend too.
I got okay when I was graduated high school that summer, 1979. We drove down from Chico to Oakland Coliseum to it. They had these big shows called Days on the Green. It was Days on the Green. It was like Mahogany Rush, Aerosmith, Ted Nugent, AC/DC with Bon Scott. Yes, I saw Bon Scott. Highway to Hell tour actually.
I've
Um,
seen Steven Tyler as a country artist.
that was right before that was Night in the Ruts tour, which was one of their best albums. I always thought, and yeah, that was a good show.
Yeah, I watched
Don't
Steven
get me
Mann
started
for-
on nostalgia stuff, but yeah, I've been to a lot. I was in the Southern California, San Diego. A lot of they all went to there, you know.
I shot and directed a video at We Fest. It's called. It's the
Yeah.
biggest country music festival in America.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, long story short, I ended up shooting and directing a video for that there. It's called Joe Goes to We Fest.
Yeah.
I actually did another video for the same guy prior, but it's got 600 some thousand views on it. The two shows combined have over 1 million. That's my internet nerd claim to fame.
Is what's your channel?
It's actually it's on Joe Goes is the name of that channel.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy that like the OG man on the street interviewer. He was a total nerd. Like, I mean, this guy got like a bachelor's from Oxford and shit. Like she is a smart cookie. I'm misgendering, calling her him or something. He was a dude when I knew him.
Okay.
But
do you got me started. It's Queen, another very good band. Their guitarist, Brian May. You know him?
know of, yeah.
Yeah. I think he was like an astrophysicist. He's got a PhD in astrophysics. It's kind of interesting.
Well,
there are some smart guys out there.
Tom Morello holds
Tom
degrees
Morello
from the Harvard and shit.
Yeah. He was the one I was going to name drop Tom too.
Or the keyboardist for the band, he was a classically trained pianist, and the only way that they could that he could play with the other band members was he had to charge them for
lessons.
Charge them for lessons so they could come and practice at his place or whatever.
Yeah, I can't think of his name, but yeah, he was a kind of a crazy looking guy, but a great feel. A great feel. The band was a great band. Come on.
Band on the moon.
A friend of mine up here who a pretty good acquaintance of mine, he does a lot of drone work now. That Bud said it. He was actually Frank Zappa's main roadie, and he's actually built his studio for him. You know, babysat his kids. He has some good Frank Zappa stories.
I've got a buddy who's who was a drummer for Green Jelly's road tour, but they've got all their road tourists are. I mean, the band is just one guy that used to be like basically what Tool before they were Tool. Also had fucking got him.
That guy's a good drummer. I can't think the name off the top of my head, but the Tool drummer is an amazing drummer.
But Bill Manspeaker used to be like the second singer type deal or whatever. But they basically kicked him out, and then he basically then Tool became famous, and then he just created Green Jelly. But Green Jelly or Jello, whichever time period we're talking about, he does he's got it's probably up to 1,000 band members at this point. I don't know if he's in the Guinness Book or not, but he hires musicians for like my buddy. He was he did maybe a dozen shows for him within the 5-state area, and he was their drummer for him. Okay.
Interesting. I have some my family members are some good musicians in there. Some are actually professional. Something I could never really just wasn't in my wheelhouse. But music is so important. I think it's so important.
I played the saxophone in school.
Oh, that's a cool one. Somebody mentioned Alice Cooper when I was in junior high. See, this were you were either kind of in the Alice Cooper camp or Kiss camp, and I definitely was in the Alice Cooper camp. School's out for summer. Oh boy, that was written for me. I thought, but yeah, I love Alice Cooper was big in my day too. Yeah, this would you mentioned this would have been a great show. That would have been a really good show, especially when Smashing Pumpkins. I love that band actually. I think Jimmy Chamberlain is one amazing drummer, and Billy Corgan is a well underestimated songwriter and guitar player. But anyways, we're talking about
That's
Primus.
funny. I wish I would have went to seen Smashing Pumpkins, but me and the wife got to go when we were in North Carolina and went and got to see Foo Fighters. And I tell you what, they put on a really good show.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll have bands that just go up there and they have their routine, right? And then you get to see a good show or whatever. But then you have other ones that like actually interact with crowds and like at one point the crowd was singing the song and the band just stopped and just let them kept going and going and going, and it went on and on and on and on. And I mean, it's cool when these bands actually interact with the audience.
No, there's definitely a group thing. I'm using the term mob, but you definitely when you're at a really good concert, which I've been to a few, and it's all consumed. It's like their energy. Yeah, it's actually it's special. It's just I've been to some really good shows.
The liveliest show that I've ever seen is a band called Psycho Stick.
Hey, yo, I was gonna say that when you were talking about Green Jelly. My cousin used to be married to the drummer from Psycho Stick, and Green Jelly was opening for him. Jake and what's the heavyset guy with the ponytail? They were at my house, and I gave him a bunch of weed out in Colorado, and he got arrested on the way to their next gig.
So I've got some buddies that they used to run a show called Utterfest up here, which is like a 14-15 band fucking death metal festival for like the weekend. And but Psycho Stick was the headliner one year, and I was sitting outside of the venue where there, like, it was a big fucking steel or pole barn basically, and I was waiting outside for my buddies to filter out of there, and the bass player for Psycho Stick at the time, I think he just filled in for him or whatever. He had a one horn mohawk, like he just had, like, it was like a braid that went straight up in the air like 2 feet. But he looked at me when he was walking out, because apparently what they do after shows is they disperse when they're at festivals and shit, and they all try to find the party basically and then like report back to each other. But like the bass player he looked at me sitting there, and I must have just appeared very fucked up, and he was like, "You're the guy with the weed, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I had a CD that I wanted to autograph for me after fucking hooking him up, and he said, "Well, I can't sign it until I get all the other members to sign it first." And then so I got to follow him around like a puppy for like the rest of the night, trying to find the rest of the members to Psycho Stick. My CD fucking fully autographs.
You still got that, I bet?
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
Somewhere.
That's a good story. That's a pretty good story.
What, with those guys, when they do these tours and stuff, they literally have a gas can. Like, they do these shows and they don't make like any money. They're literally getting, when they arrive, they're getting gas money to go to the next show. So they actually got like where they sell their merch and stuff, a gas can with a slot, says gas money, and people fucking, really hook them up, and they've been around for a long time.
I've got my Psycho Stick the Food Album T-shirt, or Psycho Stick the T-shirt is what it's called.
Yeah. I thought their best song, I think, is probably either the beer song or Who Wants a Taco.
Yeah, the beer's good. Always got a place in my heart, I guess.
I
Short and
haven't heard
sweet.
Yeah.
Beer is
You ever-
good.
you-
Beer is good. Beer is good. And stuff.
You ever see Jane's Addiction?
Yeah.
I fell in love with
Previously,
that
Porn
band for
for
a while.
Pyros.
Yeah, before Porno for Powers was Jane's Addiction, and then they
Yeah.
turned back again. I think they still tour. But in their day, they were. I love that band. Shocking Blue. Do you remember that song, Venus? Sounds like a man singing it, but it's a girl. Remember?
Yeah.
I'm your Venus. I'm your. Can't think of it right now.
I'm your
Anyways.
fire, your desire.
Yeah. Okay. Have Jamie do it, please.
I was muted. I would jump in there.
No, you could go on and on about bands. They're fun to talk about. I've seen some Rory Gallagher. I saw him. At,
Hey, real
Waldorf.
quick, since you mentioned you seeing Jamie over here, what was it, 2 weeks ago? She got bit by a rattlesnake.
You mentioned that, and but it was a dry bite, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had probably 4 more rattlesnakes here since then. Yeah.
Crikey.
Yeah. You need to get a mongoose.
Mongoose.
I need concrete walls 10 feet tall.
Yeah. Hey, well, we've been on here a long time. It's been over time, but yeah, you'll have to ask Jamie to come on and give us a little song for part of the show, as a little interlude, maybe. How about that next week? We could have a variety. We could have a variety show.
No.
Yeah. Have you been playing your guitar? Are you picking up some strings? Are you
No.
Oh, you just got it in the corner collecting dust saying you got a guitar, huh?
Get a cool
It is.
chart.
It's very subtle too. I'm not just like hanging it on the wall, right? It's like, oh, what is that there? What is that over his shoulder? Oh,
I could play the bass line to Come As You Are. And
okay. Yeah, that's
That's sad.
Nirvana.
yeah, it's simple.
Anyways, let's wrap this bad boy up. I appreciate you coming on, but I got stuff to do. You guys probably do too. Get a good night's sleep. And thanks for tuning in. I'll be back next week. And yeah, tune in. It might be interesting if at 8:30 there's going to be an hour and 15 minutes. I'm probably going to tune in. So thank you for that information, Brian. Thank you for coming on, Vets, and his lovely wife. Thank you for coming on, Jamie. And let's see you next week. How about that?
Take it easy, guys.
Good night.
Cheers.
Later.
Cheers. Peace.